What's up guys, and welcome back to the Streets YouTube channel. Now today we're going to give our Premier League table predictions for the upcoming season. First off, we're going to start with our relegated teams. In 20th I have Luton Town. Same as the vast majority of people, I just don't believe that Luton Town will have the spending power of the other clubs in the Premier League. By that I mean last season they only spent £1.5 million in the Championship, which yes got them promoted, but it was a bit of a struggle. Now the Premier League is a different ball game, so I think that with them not being able to spend as much money as other clubs, I think that they will struggle in terms of quality for the Premier League, and I do predict them to go back down. In 19th we have Everton. I think it's going to be a treacherous season for Everton this season. I think that with this strict financial fair play regulations, them not being able to sign many players, I do think that it will be time for Everton to go down. They just remind me of Sunderland just before they got relegated. They was flirting with relegation for a couple of seasons and then bam, it hit them. They were down, and then following that they had another relegation. I don't predict that for Everton. I think they will bounce straight back up, but I do believe this is a season where Everton do finally get relegated from the Premier League. In 18th we have Sheffield United. With Sheffield United losing one of their most potent strikers in Ndai, I do think that when they do play in the Premier League this season, they as well will have a lack of quality going forward. I predict that they will struggle to score a lot of goals against a lot of the teams, and I think that they will be at the wrong end of quite a big few scorelines this season against some of the better teams in the Premier League. Now 17th we have Wolverhampton Wanderers, just scraping. 18th and 17th could easily switch places because Wolves' quality has diminished rapidly from a few seasons ago, losing their best player in Ruben Neves to Saudi and not really having a brilliant recognised forward player. I think that they will struggle to score goals, and with Max Kilman going as well, struggle defensively, because I don't think the players that they bring in will be of the same quality. 16th I have Nottingham Forest. I think still Steve Cooper, with them losing all those loan players, will recruit again, and I think he will get it right again. I think they will have another season in the Premier League and just scraping by. I think 16th, 17th, 18th will be very, very close this season. 15th I have Burnley. The only team of the promoted teams to stay in the Premier League this season. I think Vincent Kompany gets a good tune out of his team. I think they play a good brand of football, and I think a team with an identity does well when they come up to the Premier League, and I think Burnley will be that team to stay in the Premier League this season. 14th we have Brentford. Now everyone believes Brentford's going to have a massive drop off this season, losing Ivan Toney. Mbeumo, when Ivan Toney got injured, proved that he could do the job, not to the same standard, but a job in the number 9 position, replacing Ivan Toney, and I think he will start the first game in that number 9 position for them this season. So whereas they're not going to get the 20 goals from Ivan Toney this season, it is only going to be the 6 months. I don't predict a relegation for them, but I do predict a worse finish for them because of that 6-month ban. And I think that when Ivan Toney does come back, he will have that real hunger to get back and score quite a few goals, guiding them to comfortable safety. 13th we have Bournemouth. My surprise of the season. I think Bournemouth, under their new manager, with their new pressing tactics, will surprise a lot of teams. I think that it's proven many a times that pressing football, as long as you do it correctly, which this guy has a proven track record of doing, will guide Bournemouth to comfortable safety this season, and probably, I think, their best ever Premier League finish. In 12th, I have West Ham. West Ham, obviously they've lost Declan Rice. They've been in for Paulinho from Fulham for 45 million. I think if they do get him in, he'll be a good addition. He's very good defensively, and obviously he can score going forward as well. I think he will be a good replacement for Declan Rice. Obviously the standard will drop, but that allows them another 60 million to go and invest in other areas of the field, mainly a number 9, because Michail Antonio is getting on. Scamacca hasn't quite done it, even though he's talking up a good game that he will turn up this season. You know, there was talks of him playing with an injury last season. If he turns up and obviously West Ham improve their squad in the right way, I can see a decent finish for West Ham this season. At 11th I have Crystal Palace. Now Crystal Palace, obviously they've lost Wilfried Zaha, which is a massive detriment to them this season, but they still have quality players, mainly Eze and Elise. I think young English talents like that, I think they will be enough for Crystal Palace to be guided away from any relegation threat this season, although I think early on it could be a struggle with them. But I think by the end of the season it will be okay. I don't see Hodgson sticking out the year, and I think a new manager will come in and guide them to comfortable safety. Now into the top 10, and 10th place I have Fulham. This is solely dependent on whether they keep Mitrovic. You know, there's strong words coming out of the camp that he has played his last game for Fulham. You know, he's told his relatives that he won't play for Fulham, even though he's gone onto the tour with the squad. He's really pushing for that move to Al Ahly, and I think that if they were to lose him, the odds of them getting a striker of equal or better quality is very, very difficult for a team like Fulham. So they have to do all they can to try and keep them. If they do, I still predict a very good finish for Fulham in that 10th position. Now 9th, I have Brighton. Brighton for me, 9th is still a good finish, but losing McAllister, potentially losing Caicedo, which is looking likely. You know, Chelsea's had a £70 million bid rejected. Whether they come in again is yet to be seen, but I do think he will be sold. The main core of their team is still there. Defensively, they're still really strong. Going forward, Ferguson's gonna have another year of quality. Yes, Danny Welbeck's getting a year older. Mitoma is still there, so they will have enough quality going forward to cause a lot of teams trouble. And I still predict a decent season for Brighton. Now 8th place is I've got Tottenham Hotspur. I predict another lacklustre season for Spurs. They brought in James Maddison. They've brought in a new defender, new goalkeeper. Whether it's yet to be seen whether they will be up to scratch. But from Tottenham's recent transfer record, it's not looking likely. They've been used to signing how can I say it, not the best quality of player, and sometimes for big figures. I think the loss of Hugo Lloris, even though he is prone to a mistake, is huge, and I think the goalkeeper that they've brought in at the moment is not going to be of the quality of Hugo Lloris, especially in shot stopping. So I think it could be like I said, a lacklustre season for Spurs. 7th, I've got Aston Villa. Aston Villa haven't lost anyone of note, and they've built by bringing in Yuri Tielemans and Pau Torres. They're in talks with Moussa Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen, and I think if he comes in, it will shore up that left wing position, allow Ollie Watkins to operate solely as number 9, and I only see progression for, even though it will be the same position finish, it will count as progression for Aston Villa, because it will be another year in Europe, and obviously they have the Europa Conference League to contend with this season also. 6th, I've got Chelsea. Whereas I don't believe that they will have a monstrosity of a season like they had last season, finishing 12th. I do see this season as a progression. They will constantly build. The incomings of Nkunku is massive. Yes, they've got rid of a lot of their deadwood. It's a bit ambiguous of how they've done this, but there will be a lot more outgoings, and I'm sure a lot more incomings before the end of the transfer window. So I do think, especially with the arrival of Mauricio Pochettino, he knows how to get a team ticking. He's done it with Tottenham for years, constantly getting top 4 positions. But I think this season will be a step in the right direction for Chelsea, getting them back into that top 6, and I predict a 6th place finish for them. Now 5th, I've got Newcastle. This might surprise a few, but I think with them losing the dynamism of St. Maximin and bringing in Harvey Barnes, I just don't see, I see a drop of quality there. Even though Harvey Barnes' stats last season are a lot better than St. Maximin's, you have to take into account that St. Maximin got injured quite a lot last season, and I just think the raw ability of St. Maximin compared to Harvey Barnes registers as a drop in quality. Now, don't get me wrong, they still have a lot of ability going forward, but with the introduction of Champions League football to St James's Park, I just think that with only, at the moment bringing in Harvey Barnes and Sandro Tonali, I don't think the depth is quite there for them to maintain a Champions League and a Premier League push, and I think that Champions League nights are too ludicrous to turn down in terms of wanting to put out your best squad every game, because obviously Champions League is the prestigious competition. Now, my top 4. 4th place, I've got Manchester United. Manchester United could be anywhere from 4th to 2nd in my eyes. I think that replacing De Gea with Onana is an excellent addition. Ten Hag always wanted that ball-playing goalkeeper. He never had that with De Gea, but obviously De Gea was a good shot stopper. But now he finally has that with Onana, and I think that is an excellent addition to their squad. They have obviously a really good defensive line, really good midfield. The only place they are lacking for me, which is why currently I've got them in 4th, is that number 9 position. If they manage to get a good number 9 who will score them 20 plus goals a season, I can see them climbing into that 2nd place position. But because they haven't currently got that, there is talks of Højlund from Atalanta, but because he hasn't signed yet, I can't guarantee that he will be there at the start of the season, so that's why I've got Manchester United 4th. In 3rd, I've got Liverpool. Now for me, the signings Liverpool have made can only be a boost to them, because their midfield was non-existent last season. Their change in system towards the back end of last season was as a massive benefit to them. Having Trent Alexander-Arnold further forward in that number 6/8 position proved wonders. His passing ability is second to none, maybe just behind Kevin De Bruyne, and he's proven time and time again that he is indeed a world-class talent going forward. Maybe not as much defensively, but like I said, there is a new revamped midfield with more energy, not so reliant on Jordan Henderson's energy. Obviously he's now off to Saudi Arabia, same as Fabinho. They've still kept their forward line. I think it's one of the most potent in the Premier League as a package. You got Mo Salah, which has just been incredible since he's been back in the Premier League for Liverpool. Cody Gakpo's had a good start. Darwin Núñez, who was quite underwhelming, but provides that ability to excite, and Jota and Diaz, who have been doing it ever since they've came to Liverpool. So as a package, I think their attacking lineup is quite potent, which is why I've got them there. I still see defensive frailties. They haven't improved in that area. They're still going to continue to play a high line, and I think they're going to get caught out quite a few times this season. Van Dijk's not getting any younger. He's going to lose a bit more pace, and I just see them getting caught out because Konate and Robertson will have to cover quite often, I think, as you've got fast attackers running towards the goalkeeper. In second, I have Arsenal. Initially, before they made their signings, I had them in fourth because I thought that they would have kind of like a second season syndrome type thing where they failed to get the league. I thought that it can either make or break a team, and I thought that Arsenal's mentality over the last few years, they bottled top 4 2 seasons ago, they bottled the league last season, and I think this season it will kind of have a negative impact on them. But I think with the signings that they've made, especially Declan Rice, I think that it's going to rejuvenate the squad now going forward, and I do now predict a good season for Arsenal. Yes, it won't be end in victory because obviously I've got them in second place, but I do predict them getting closer to to Manchester City, and it will be an agonising defeat once again. Now on to my champions, and unfortunately it will be 4 in a row for Manchester City. I think that would be 6 titles in 7 years. Only Liverpool in the way in 2020. So like I said, my champions will be Manchester City. They have lost 2 brilliant players, Riyad Mahrez agreed terms to Saudi Arabia. Gundogan has already gone to Barcelona. There's talks of Kyle Walker wanting out, Bernardo Silva wanting out, and if that's the case, they could have quite a disgruntled squad. But I do believe whatever happens, whoever Guardiola decides to bring in will be calculated, will be players that will fit into his system, and even though I think they won't hit any heights that they've hit over the recent years in terms of like points total and trebles and whatnot, I do think Manchester City will scrape over that line this season, and then next season I do predict that there will be a different Premier League winner. Okay, that is the end of this video. Don't forget that we have a giveaway in the description over on my Twitter. Like I said, 100 subscribers, 100 followers on Twitter, and somebody will win that Trent Alexander-Arnold signed Premier League winners medal from 2020. If you've liked this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you have a different order of relegation candidates, top 4, title winners, anything you've agreed with, disagreed with, just pop it in the comment section. I'll be intrigued to know your lists, and if there's anything else, any positives or negatives that you find from this video, just pop it in there, give me some constructive criticism, let me know how I can build for the future, and if there's nothing else, then that will be it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.